Grief doesn't go away, but life still asks us to show up. So, ladies, today I'm going to just take you on a little journey. So, I have a series over on the blog and it's called Life After Style because style is, yes, it's about fashion, but it can also be about our home. It can also just be about like what's going on in our life. And I'm 66. Actually, I'm turning 67 in just a few weeks. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And I've also been a widow since I was 60. So I really wanted to touch on grief today because one thing I do know is when we do get to a certain age, we have lost our parents. Perhaps we've lost a spouse. We've lost friends. And it doesn't even have to be like a permanent loss, like a death. It could be a divorce. It could be retired from your career. There are a lot of things that really do involve grief that doesn't necessarily focus on death. But I am going to share just my journey, just a little bit of a snippet of grief and how it, I mean, as I said in the opener, it pays a visit, but yet we still have to keep living. We have to figure out how to go forward. We have to figure out, who we are, who the new us is, or who the new me is. So I just wanted to share that today because it's a question that I am asked quite a bit. And the one club that none of us ever wanted to join was the Widow Club, or is the Widow Club. So, and my heart goes out to you if you've just recently experienced a loss. It is, I'm telling you, it is something that you really have to work through. There are no shortcuts that you can take when it comes to grief, and it will stay with you the rest of your life, although it won't consume you anymore. And I'm 6 years out from losing my husband, and we were married almost 36 years. He passed away about a month or so before our 36th wedding anniversary. And he also passed away in July 17th. So it was just a few weeks ago. So that's always a very monumental day for me. And also, he had just turned 67 when he passed away, and I'm going to be 67 in just a few weeks. So just all these things really were just percolating in my head. And as I said, grief is something that you have to work through. It does, I promise you, it does get better. You do come out on the other side, but you have to fight for it. And I still have days where I can be very sad. And that has recently happened. And especially because I also have a German Shepherd named Oscar, who is 11 years old, and he is starting to fade. And I know the grief will be knocking on my door sooner rather than later when it comes to Oscar. But today's message really is there again, it's life beyond style. So I know that I show up with fashion content and style content, and I will always share that with you because guess what? I always have to get ready and I always have to throw an outfit on. And I also will share with you that I accidentally got into the whole blogging influencer sphere 10 years ago because I actually was writing a book. I had previously written a book and I had gotten an agent from New York, and the first thing that he told me before he shopped the book around, and this was way back in like 2012, he mentioned that I had to get a social media presence to help promote my book because publishing houses really don't have budgets for first-time authors. So anyway, I can remember thinking at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just figured out how to write a book. So now I have to figure out how to, put together a social media platform. Well, that book didn't get picked up, but I put the social media, to the side. We actually moved from Minneapolis to San Francisco. So I was living there at the time. I was working at Bloomingdale's. I was the Ralph Lauren specialist, but in the home department. And I was finishing up my second book. So social media was on my mind again because this book was good. This one was going to get picked up. So I really needed to speak authentically about something over on the social channel. So I was cognizant of the 20 somethings posting outfits of the day. And I was like, that's it. I can post an outfit of the day. I was 56 at the time, 55, yeah, 56. And I was like, so who cares if I have gray hair and maybe my waist isn't as, tiny as it once was. Everybody always loves my outfits. And so anyway, so I started just with an outfit of the day and it just blew up. And I was having to figure out things. I mean, oh my gosh, there's like so much that really goes into blogging. And this was long before I got my YouTube channel up and running. So anyway, I made the decision to put that book aside so I could concentrate on all the social channels and the blog and doing things right and figuring things out. And so anyway, so here I am 10 years later and I finished that book. Yes, ladies, I did. I finished that book and I will talk about that, or I'll read a few pages at the end of this video, but I just really wanted to give you just a little bit of background, I guess a backstory of how I even, started my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel came several years after my blog was up and running, and I really saw that everything was headed towards video. And now we have, our Instagram shorts and our TikTok and, yada, yada, yada. But anyway, very happy that I have my YouTube channel and all of you. But there again, so style. I will always love style. I will always love fashion, and I will always share what I'm wearing and tips and tricks and things like that. So that's very important to me. And I know that's why you tune in. But I also think it's very important to touch on things that really affect our lives as, style at a certain age, not me, but all of us. Because, when we hit a certain age, things start to change, whether that's our bodies. And as I said, today I'm talking about a grief just a little bit. And I really just wanted to share with you that a really important step for me in my grief journey, and it really kind of happened accidentally, but I don't think anything ever really happens accidentally. But so I lost Mr. Style in July of 2019. And then the following year, the pandemic that shut the world down, knocked on our door. And I had one of my kiddos living in New York at the time. And we all told him, it's like, Andrew, get out of Dodge. You don't want to be in New York City, during the pandemic and during a big, shutting everything down. So he actually moved and he lived with me here in Athens, Georgia for a year. And so that really kind of started what I'm going to be sharing with you, which is how I redecorated my bedroom, which is a really bold move. But when he came down, so I have a ranch and a walkout basement. So we have a bedroom and a bath down here, and then a finished part of the basement and a little kitchenette and all of that. So he had a place to work. He had he had his own space. I mean, it was just, it couldn't have worked out any better. But I hadn't finished that guest room down here in the basement. So I just thought about it and I'm like, I think I'm just going to take a really big, bold move here and redo my bedroom and send that furniture down and then, furnish the guest room. And I will really share with you that I'm so glad that I did it. But at the time, I really went back and forth because this is what you're going to be doing, especially after you lose your spouse. It was like you still want to be holding on to them and that life that you had, but yet you need to go forward. And I can just remember thinking at the time, oh my gosh, I love this room with him. It was a very Ralph Lauren-ish room. It was very masculine. I mean, I loved the room. It was just very cozy. I loved everything about this room. But I really thought that I would maybe even be dishonoring him if I changed anything. I mean, I really went through that process. But at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I'm carving out a new life for me. And I think this is a really great space to do it in and a safe space. So I redecorated my room and it was really very liberating because I got to focus on something. I got to focus on creating something wholly for me. And it's a very feminine room and we'll have photos and we'll share that. Very feminine, and I just really kind of just look at it that, grief didn't get a hold of me and I replaced it with, navy, magenta and, and some stripes because that's really what is of the main focus in this room. So it was, as I said, I went through the emotion of, oh my gosh, am I dishonoring my husband? And really battling that I knew I needed to go forward and create something wholly of my own. So that's what I did. And so I have this beautiful bedroom. So it's painted in white, so very light and bright. I brought in, as I said, I have navy and magenta, but it really all started with the upholstered headboard, which is striped. It's a custom headboard from Ballard's. And so I picked out the fabric and, ordered it. And so then that came. I love my little simple linens, so I usually just keep white sheets on it. I actually have some sheets that I had embroidered that I love custom things like that, and I love monograms, and so I have some sheets that are embroidered, still with Mr. Styles' initial and my initial and our last one. So, I love white percale sheets, so I have that. I just have simple Euro shams. And I will share this with you. So I did learn this when I worked at Bloomie's. So get the oversized Euro pillows if you really want your Euro sham to really look plump. And Bloomingdale's has a really very affordable one, but it's their oversized or extra large. I can't remember what it's exactly called, Euro pillow. And then that just makes your Euro shams just look really plump. So just a very serene backdrop. I have a right now, I mean, I have different quilts that I'll put on at different times of year. This is summer, so I have this cute little stripe quilt that's just folded at the end of the bed, and then just a channel stitched navy blanket. So that's what makes up my bed, and then I just have pops of pink. So I love to share with you when you're putting an outfit together to always add texture. Well, I take those same style principles and I use it in my bedroom too. So I have a velvet lumbar pillow. So that's kind of the backdrop of the pillows. And then I have these two like really jazzy pink pillows. They're no longer available. You can purchase the lumbar pillow. And I will link everything down below if you're interested. So we always, try to do that. But so anyway, so that's my bed. But what I really love about this room are the Andy Warhol posters. And they're just very fun. They're very feminine. So I kept, the color scheme in the pinks and the blues. So you'll see that on the wall. So I have some very large Andy Warhol prints, and then I have some smaller ones. I have some very whimsical ones above my dresser. So I have like an ice cream and oh gosh, what else is I can't remember what the other ones are too, but anyway, some food ones. My favorite one is the really big, the raspberry one that's over my long dresser. That's one of my favorite ones, and then the tomato soup can. So all of the prints in the room are Andy Warhol, and they're all framed in white. So there again, just a very fun, it's just a very feminine room. And I will just share with you after I did it, after I went through, that tug of war of, oh my gosh, should I be doing this? I mean, I have some friends that are widows that haven't touched anything and they still have, their husband's clothes, hanging in their closet. And if that's you, that's totally fine too. I mean, I think that grief and our journey with grief, it's very individual, it's not linear, and we all make different choices along the way. And I just wanted to share what my choice was. And this was a very bold, I mean, I thought it was very bold at the time, but it turned into a room that's wholly mine. It's very peaceful. It's, as I said, it's just very feminine. It was kind of winking, with the Andy Warhol prints. And so I'm so happy that I took that little project on, and it really just kind of liberated me, and it really um, helped me to see that I will have a life of my own and that I will be able to move forward. I will honestly tell you that I love being single most days. Most days. I mean, there are some days that I can be very, very blue, and then, kind of feel sorry for myself that, that it's me, myself, and I, right? Which is a good thing, but it's a bad thing because nobody's going to tell me, I mean, I can eat what I want. I can shop what I like. I can decorate how I please. I mean, these are all the freeing things of being single. But then, then the flip side is then it's just you. It's just you making all those decisions. It's just you that's, that shows up. Like for me, I have to show up and run my business. I have to, show up and take care of my pets. I have to, I mean, everything just, falls on my shoulders. So it's really kind of a double-edged sword. But I have to share, I truly am in just such a great place. I'm in a happy space. But there again, it takes time. It takes a lot of work, and it still does. Like, when those blue days, come along. It's not an easy road, but it's definitely a road that when you put the effort in, you will reap the benefits. And that's what I'm seeing now. And then I really do. I have this lovely, lovely life that's filled with family and friends, and many of you know, I have one granddaughter that's already here. She was born May 22nd on my late husband's birthday. It's just so special to me. And my second granddaughter is due to arrive the end of August. And she could have my birthday because my birthday is August 26th. I mean, wouldn't that be a hoot if one granddaughter had Mag's birthday and then one had mine? But anyway, ladies, if you are going through grief, just know that if there's anything that I can share with you is that it just takes time, and give yourself grace and give yourself space to move forward. And sometimes it'll be 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I mean, it's just, as I said, it's not linear. It ebbs and it flows, but if you work really hard, you're going to come out on the other side. So, and what I really wanted to share with you is, so that book that started this whole blogging and over on Instagram and over on YouTube, and we even have like a little TikTok channel. So all of that started because of this book that I was writing and needed a social platform for. Well, I finished that book. So there again, you may put things aside for a time, for a season, but I'm here to say I finally picked that book up. Really don't know how I found the time to do it, but I was just like, it's now or never. And I finished that book. So I want to introduce you to my book, Insincere Motives. I mean, right now I'm putting my query letter together. I'm trying to find a new agent and then shop my book around to the publishers, because I really do. I don't want to be a self-published author. I mean, I know a lot of people go that route. I really would like to go the traditional route. But I'm going to pat myself on the back because I finished that book, and I'm going to share with you my protagonist, Reggie Kavanaugh. So I'm just going to read a first few pages from my book. So I will just share with you. So the book kicks off. I'm not going to read the prologue, but there is a prologue to it. And starts off with an art heist in Paris, the Musée d'Orsay. But I really wanted to introduce you to Reggie, my protagonist. So as I said, I'm going to, I'll read the first few pages of my book. So it starts off in Chicago, Illinois. This is Reggie's hometown. So it's Monday, 10:26 a.m., Chicago, Illinois. Reggie Kavanaugh had a favorite day of the week, and it wasn't Monday. Friday came with an acronym and good vibes. Monday? Mondays came preloaded with anxiety. Chaos dressed as structure. Reggie swore they were rigged. One surprise after another, dressed up like a to-do list. But from the moment her alarm clock rang this morning, she knew something was different. The air itself seemed to hum with anticipation. Maybe this whole mess would have turned out differently if it had fallen on Tuesday. By 8 a.m., Children's Memorial Hospital looked like a media circus. 4 TV trucks, a dozen tabloid reporters, local journals, hundreds of fans jostling for position, plus the ever-hovering buzzers. Paparazzi in full bloom. Or actually, I should say in full plume. Vultures really circling, waiting for their $500,000 photo op to emerge and blink at the sun. The sliding glass doors hissed open. Reggie stepped into chaos wrapped in sunlight. Flashbulbs popped like machine gun fire. One hand shielded her eyes, the other dove into her handbag. Tissues, mints, her signature red lipstick. Smile first, find footing second. Her face was famous. High cheekbones, elegant nose, swan-like neck. The smile came easily. No matter how seasoned she was, her bright blue eyes always betrayed her. A flicker of wariness surfaced any time the paparazzi hovered. which was why she rarely appeared in public without her Gucci sunglasses, sometimes even at night. Her fingers found the glasses, breathing leveled, armor on. She slipped them into place and gave the crowd a practice wave. Claire Harrington stood beside her, 7 inches shorter, sharp as a whip, and Reggie's ride or die since college orientation. Quick wit, mind like a Nabascus, elbow like a vice when required. When a long lens lunged too close, Claire clamped onto Reggie's elbow and steered down the steps, expertly dodging a teenage fan waving pen and paper like a drowning swimmer. They were on a tight schedule, and Claire didn't just manage time. She ruled it. One glance at her watch, 2 fingers in the air. "We stop at the base of the stairs," Claire called over the swell of voices. 2, maybe 3 softball questions, then your statement, then we disappear. Reggie nodded, eyeing the perky blonde from WGN checking her reflection in the camera monitor. Tongue swipe, hair flip, teeth like a Colgate ad. As Reggie breezed past, the mic shot up like a sword. "Reggie," the blonde shrieked, "tell us, what's it like working with Miles Kelly?" Of course, that would be the first question. What else would they lead with? Miles Kelly, Hollywood's golden boy, box office royalty with 10 hits and a rotating cast of ingenues hanging on his arm like a designer handbag. Reggie Silla glanced at her co-star. He slipped out of the hospital minutes earlier and was holding court like he'd been born for it. Black fitted shirt clung to his chest, worn in jeans, fried boots. All ease, all charm, all Miles. Even as he smiled for the cameras, his eyes kept sweeping the perimeter. Not just charming, but alert, like he was cataloging exits. Something about that made her pulse skip. At the sound of his name, Miles turned with a tight smile and cocked one dark brow her way. All 6'2" of hard edges and lean lines, and those blue eyes looked at her, expectant. Still amused, still watching, but something behind the smirk, calculation maybe, flashed and was gone. She swallowed, hard, like her body knew what her brain wasn't ready to admit. Something about the way Miles Kelly looked at her suggested he knew exactly what she had on beneath her linen sheath, lavender lace, 34C. Nothing headline-worthy by Hollywood standards, but respectable, and most importantly, real. Heat crept up her neck. Get it together, Kavanaugh. She leaned into the mic, summoning her publicist's favorite mantra. We use the media. They don't use us. Reggie was a pro, not her first rodeo. She smiled like she meant it. According to People magazine, she said sweetly, I'm working with the sexiest man alive. And I have to admit, he's not exactly hard on the eyes. The crowd chuckled. Solid start. Miles Kelly, for his part, thought the title was nonsense. Dubious, he'd called it. He didn't give 2 cents about Hollywood royalty, preferred the solitude of his 70-acre spread near the boundary waters in northern Minnesota. She glanced back, still amused, still watching. Not just amused, measuring. He gave her a slight nod of approval. Not that she needed it, thank you very much. So there you go, ladies. It's never too late. Yes, grief will visit us. And as I mentioned, my German Shepherd, who has just been my most faithful companion and been by my side while I was grieving my husband, I know that his days are a little bit numbered, and that makes me a little sad. But one thing I know, ladies, we can move forward. We can create new lives for ourselves. It's not necessarily that we're reinventing ourselves, but that we're just moving forward and claiming lives that are our very own. So if you are going through grief right now, if you've recently lost someone, just know it takes time, it takes effort, and most importantly, you have to give yourself grace and space.